I met my soulmate, my best friend, the love of my life, my late husband, Jimmy Nichols, on February the 16th, 2008. He walked up to me at a mutual friend's house and he said, "Are you Keegan?" "I'm Jimmy Nichols." I called him Jimmy Nichols as it was one word for the rest of his life. Before he left the party, he turned around and he said, "I have 20 seconds of courage." He said, "Can I have your number? You're the most beautiful girl in the world and I'd like to court you." I think he was a 140-year-old man stuck in a 38-year-old body. After he passed away, I found that 2008 piece of paper in his wallet. He'd kept that piece of paper on his person for over 10 years. A few months into our marriage, Jimmy became ill and battled many hospital stays over the years. Kidney failure, brain surgeries, you name it, the poor man went through it. But he battled each time with such grace and love. In the last year of his life, he was healthier than he had ever been. He hugged me the night before he passed away, and he said, "You're the most beautiful girl in the world. I'm always going to love you." He said, "I'm just going to get some rest. I'm really exhausted." I couldn't wake him up the next morning. Many cards, tributes on Facebook, stories that I heard describe my late husband as someone as a common theme, and all talked about how he cared about other people. He had the ability to make you feel as you were the most important person in the entire world. He could make instant and sincere connections. And as I began to think about this new life, in this new journey as a widow, I thought about Jimmy's life and how I wanted to live. And all I could come up with was gratitude, joy, and hope that he shared. Jimmy and I always promised each other whomever passed away first would leave the other person pebbles. These pebbles were physical acts of kindness, other things that would happen, and we believed that those things led us to lead better lives. Our interactions with students are often short and minor in the context of our students' college careers, yet we can strive to make them profoundly meaningful in the development of grit. Your challenge over the next few minutes is to see how you can use the pebbles of gratitude, joy, and hope in your journey of developing grit. So what is grit? Grit is the courage and the strength and the determination to keep going even when things are really hard. It's shown to be more important than physical IQ, physical fitness, IQ, and other abilities in achieving our dreams. So my first pebble for you is gratitude. Sometimes we fall into the trap of what we lack and not focus on the things that we do have. People who express gratitude are viewed as more positively by those around them. Gratitude helps us to see around the negative, and that's grit. Gratitude helps us place value on what's really important, our future goals, and pave a way to perseverance. At the hospital, we began talking about things that we were grateful for, and not in a cheesy way, but a really meaningful way. And we would just start talking about we were thankful for the great nurses, the health insurance, a great job, I had great bosses. One is who was in the audience with me. And one day the hospital chaplain came in and he said, and we're ready for him to inspire us and to pray us up. And he didn't. He sat down and he said, "How do you do this? You're the sickest person in this hospital. The doctor said you're not going to be the ones who make it, yet they come in here because they want what you have. Every day you're just so grateful and so thankful for all the things that you have." And Jimmy looked at him and he started laughing and he smiled and he said, "Because when you say the things that you're grateful for, because you can focus on all the things that I don't have, but I choose to focus on the things that I do have, and it changes you. It changes who you are and it changes your perspective." And it became this tradition with us, and not in cheesy, but it grew out organically. Every night before we went to bed, we talked about all the great things that had happened in our life. And many times it was one or two things, but many times it was several things that we got to talk about on how grateful we were. Gratitude helps us generate healthy thoughts, and those healthy thoughts benefit your actual brain function. And it can help others. We can help others by learning to live and be grateful in that moment. Joy. My next pebble is joy. Happy is a response to something that happens. If I get a Tiffany necklace, I'm going to look good and be happy. Joy is not. Joy is a constant. It's something that is found deep within us, and it can be cultivated. We've been traumatized. We may have been hurt in our past, but we can always go back to what is the joy in our life. What are we experiencing? We may have to put in time and effort in really putting our past into proper perspective. When we release our past, we can allow our future in. Shortly after one of his brain surgeries, he'd lost all of his memory. And his dad said, "How are you hanging in there with losing your memory?" And Jimmy said, "You know those 1,000-page Civil War novels that I love to read," which were boring, by the way. And I got rid of 17 suitcases full of those novels after he passed away. And I said, "Yeah." He said, "I get to read those like it's the first time I've ever read them." That's true joy. The only thing from stopping you from having joy is you. Jimmy always told me to find your joy reminder. He always said that I was his. And this is a picture of Mayron. Jimmy went to school where Mayron worked, and Mayron, shortly after he passed, one of my friends walked by his office, and she said, "Mayron, why do you have a picture of Jimmy in your office?" And he said, and he smiled really big, and he said, "Because Jimmy always reminds me to have joy." That's how you want to live your life. Be the person that other people want to be around. Be the person that other people look to find that joy. Part of life in our journey, there's going to be lots of bumps. There's going to be lots of obstacles, some of them even really major, like losing your husband. But embracing it all, even when it seems impossible, trying to find that joy and going back to that. My final pebble for you is hope. No matter what life throws at you, determine that no matter what, you're going to know what the end is going to be. Rather than having this feeling that life is going to be better, resolve that you will make it better. Go to lunch with a friend. I'm going to go for a walk. Tomorrow is going to be a better day. To develop a hopeful attitude, begin telling yourself, bad things are temporary. The situation is not permanent. The hurt is not forever. It's going to be okay. If it's out of your control, it's not your fault. Begin trying to really develop a hopeful attitude. My pebble for hope came at a really important time in my life. My neighbors were really doing some work in my house. It was brutal. Did not want them in my house. They were always at my house. I walked outside one day, and I have a closed garage, and it remains closed at all times. And I walked up to my husband's tool belt, and it was my favorite thing that he owned because it reminded me of his grit and his determination and his opportunity to always build. And when I looked in this closed garage in his tool belt, a bird had laid a nest and had laid an egg in this bird nest. It was this moment that I thought about this bird. This bird had to have some grit to fly into my garage each day, somehow build this bird's nest and lay an egg. This was my pebble for hope. An egg stands for hope and for a better life. Hope helps us to see a better tomorrow and gives us the courage to keep going. Finding grit through adversity seems simplistic. It's naive to think that more challenges are not ahead of me and that they're going to still coming. But I know with joy, gratitude, and hope that I can keep going. I wrote several versions of the speech, and quite honestly, I have no idea what you're listening to right now. It's just words are coming out of my mouth. But as I was driving down the road one day, I was listening to a song that my late husband had asked me to play at his funeral. And as I was listening to this song, I realized it was the same pebbles that I'm talking about today, about joy, gratitude, and hope. It's funny how this giant pebble, or a boulder, as my sister tells me, she's like, "Keegan, he does not send you pebbles, he sends you boulders." And I'm very blessed for that. And as I close, I want you to listen to this song and this video with an open heart, and I want you to think about what life holds for you in terms of how do you build gratitude, joy, and hope. And my hope is that you continue to find Jimmy's pebbles as I do.
If I ever leave this world alive, well, thank you for the things you did in my life. If I ever leave this world alive, I'll come back down and sit beside your feet tonight. Wherever I am, you'll always be more than just a memory. If I ever leave this world alive, if I ever leave this world alive, I'll take on all the sadness that I left behind. If I ever leave this world alive, the madness that you feel will soon subside. So